On an absolutely gorgeous day in the swamp, it is time for the Florida Spring Game, the orange and blue game. It's the culmination of spring practice for the Gators. Year 3 for Billy Napier, Year 2 for quarterback Graham Mertz, and Year 1 for DJ Lagway, the highly sought-after recruit that ended up here in Gainesville. So the Florida Gators, their spring game happening right now. Aiden Mizell will return the kick from Trey Smack, and they are ready to go with the orange and blue game. A nice crowd here at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Billy Napier mentioned his 3rd season as the head coach here at Florida. He's made some coaching staff changes. He's made some additions to, obviously, this roster. And the first quarterback we're going to see today is not Graham Mertz, it's DJ Lagway.
Kind of apropos, right? We just talked about him. Gets an opportunity to take the first snap in his first orange and blue game. Like I said before, fans clamoring for what Lagway can bring to this offense.
I don't think you should read anything into this. The orange team won the toss and got the ball first to start the ball game. Jordan Ball in the backfield. DJ Lagway on the run, taking a shot down the field, and that ball is incomplete. Aiden Mizell in coverage intended for, Jakeem Jackson in coverage intended for Mizell. DJ Lagway, the true freshman from Willis High School, Willis, Texas. He was the National Gatorade Player of the Year. 100 touchdown passes in high school, including 58 in his senior season. Lagway trying to make it happen with his feet. Defense was looking for that early whistle, obviously not hitting the quarterback today. So a 3rd down coming up for the orange offense, who is wearing white jerseys. Lagway steps up over the middle of the field, and that one is too tall. Intended that time for Marcus Burke. Hunter Smith will punt it away to Trey Mitchell. Trey Wilson, I beg your pardon. And Trey Wilson with a fair catch at the 28, a 47-yard punt with no return.
His football IQ may be one of his best characteristics, and he really utilized that well last year in this offense.
Mertz on the pop pass to Trey Wilson. Mertz to the air, down the left side and incomplete. Trying to haul it in with a one-handed catch that time was Khalil Jackson. Jason Marshall in coverage.
You mentioned the downfield throws for the orange team, a shot there for the blue team. And the thing that we've noticed on both sides of the ball defensively have been defenders running in stride with the wide receivers. That's been a focal point this spring. Obviously, the defense has to play much better than they did last year, but playing the ball in the air was a little bit of an Achilles heel for this defense last year. So far, nice job by that secondary, both sides.
It was a young secondary a season ago. 3rd down play here for Mertz. That's complete across the 40, enough for the first down to keep the drive alive for the blue offense. Jackson on the reception. Billy Napier talked about complementary football. You see that average starting field position from a year ago in terms of yards to the end zone. And it's not just on the offense, that's the defense and what they were able to keep the other offense from doing. Austin Armstrong in his 2nd season as the defensive coordinator here at Florida, but has been joined by his football dad, he said, on the staff. Ron Roberts making the transition from Auburn here to Gainesville. That pass complete to Montrell Johnson out of the backfield. Another 3rd down here for the blue offense, converted on their first 3rd down opportunity. Mertz with a clean pocket in time. Now he's got to scramble. Throws across his body, complete at midfield. Into the orange defense's territory. That's Trey Wilson, and that is the go-to guy.
You know, it's funny. Last year during fall camp, all I heard about was number 3, making plays in scrimmages.
You mentioned it a second ago, 61 catches, 538 yards, 6 touchdowns a year ago for Trey Wilson. Johnson on the carry.
Takes over an offense with a new scheme, new language, so it's like coming to a new country and trying to figure out the local language.
Third down of this opening drive for the blue offense, quarterbacked by Sixth-year senior Graham Mertz. It's a give to Johnson again. Johnson picks his way through the defense, trying to get to that first down marker, and he's going to be dropped short of the line to game. Grayson Howard, the inside linebacker, comes up and makes the tackle. Sophomore from Jacksonville. They call him Pup Howard. Transferred in from South Carolina. Austin Armstrong said big addition for this defense.
Yeah, huge addition, and I think people have been surprised at how quickly he's acclimated to the change in scheme. A veteran guy that's played in this league before. It's important to go out and get experienced guys, something that this transfer portal season brought to Gainesville, but when you have experience in the SEC, it's even more valuable.
Going forward on fourth down, keeping it on the ground, and that's close. Should be enough for the first down. There is a white jersey that is down on the play and is injured, and that is the one thing that you absolutely want to avoid in spring practice.
Particularly on the defensive line. That's Tyreek Sapp that's down right now.
Cam Jackson, I think.
Cam Jackson, yeah.
And that is not a guy that they want to see banged up. With the break on the field, we'll take a timeout as well. The senior from Haynesville, Louisiana. Transfer from Memphis, played 11 games, and an important piece on this defense.
Yeah, the defensive line hasn't been up to the Florida standard in recent years, and I think they feel like this year's defensive line is not only deeper with the addition of some new players, but I think they're also in better shape. That's largely what's been talked about this offseason is guys like Caleb Banks, Cam Jackson, Desmond Watson losing significant weight to allow them to not only be fresher and play more snaps, but to be able to be fresh as the season wears on, which I thought last year Jackson wore down quite a bit.
Mertz flushed from the pocket, and he will throw this one incomplete, trying to get it to Trayon Webb out of the backfield. So Johnson getting a break. Trayon Webb, the redshirt freshman from Trinity in Jacksonville. One of the new things that you've got in college football this year is that communication system in the helmet of the quarterback. Asked Billy Napier about that, and he said, man, it's crazy to be able to talk directly to my quarterback, get the play in quickly, and perhaps mention something else as they're coming to the line. 2 of 3 on third down. They've got a fourth down conversion so far. Webb motions out of the backfield to the top of your screen. Mertz with time.
Smith.
And his pass is caught. Eugene Wilson, Trey Wilson once again on the catch for another first down conversion after a gain of 12.
When in doubt, look for Trey Wilson, right? That's what he did last year with Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall passing the torch to Trey Wilson. That time had some pressure off his right side.
But also Chimery DK, the transfer from Wisconsin, a guy who we will keep an eye on. Webb on the carry down to the 10-yard line.
The Lynx are going to be
Sticks
occupied.
are coming out
They're
soon,
coming,
right?
Yeah, no doubt.
On the ground to the left side, and good penetration that time from the front. Cam Jackson back in. He's in on the tackle, so was Sharif Denson. Another third down. Blue offense 3 of 4 on this drive on third down plays. Mertz over the middle. That one's tipped into the air and incomplete. Grayson Howard in coverage. Trying to get it to the tight end, Arliss Boardingham.
Nice job by Howard there. Had one-on-one coverage. Looked like Arliss may have had a step on the defender, but Graham Mertz just a little behind him.
31-yard field goal attempt for Trey Smack. Basically the middle of the field. Blue offense trying to get on the board first in the orange and blue game here at Steve Spurrier Florida Field. The field goal is good, and the blue team strikes first. Fans want touchdowns, not field goals, but you'll take the points. Get our second chance to look at the orange offense who had the ball to start the game. This one's returnable. That is Mizell. Out across the 25. Mizell breaks tackles, and they'll blow it dead, I think. Around the 30-yard line, and so DJ Lagway and the orange offense will come back onto the field. The National Player of the Year. Threw for 100 touchdowns in high school. Can kind of do it with his feet as well.
Yeah, he's a do-it-all kind of guy. I think the thing that has stood out the most to the Florida coaches is his leadership. Guys just naturally gravitate to him.
DJ Lagway on his opening drive took a couple of shots down the field, both incomplete. 8th ranked player nationally in the ESPN 300. Has openly talked about the fact that he was still being recruited down to the day before signing day. A lot of pressure for him to stay in his home state of Texas. But he said Florida was the place that felt right for me.
A lot of resources in Texas to be able to put pressure on guys to stay in the state. But I think this was a huge get for Coach Napier. It's a perfect situation for Lagway right now. Gets a chance to come in. He gets to learn not only the offense, but from Graham Mertz himself. I thought DJ Lagway's father, he said it the best on Twitter, just thanking the Mertz family for Graham Mertz as well for just accepting his son and trying to take him under his wing to teach him.
Graham Mertz talked to us yesterday about his relationship with DJ Lagway as well. As Lagway tries to get to the outside, and he is touched down at midfield.
Players coming out of high school that are given that much attention, want to come in and play right away. I think the family understands that the future is bright for Lagway. The worst thing I think that can happen for young quarterbacks sometimes is being put in situations where they're playing too early.
KD Daniels with the explosive run. Actually, Ball on the carry, Jaden Ball.
I think they have some nice options, including the 2 freshmen, Daniels and Ball.
Ball, the freshman from Atlanta, how about this? Averaged 14 yards per carry in his senior season at Columbia High School. 19 touchdowns in that senior campaign as well.
One thing you've seen through the last couple of recruiting classes for Florida, emphasis on speed and an emphasis on length. This team looks a lot different to me than it did 2 years ago, and certainly the upgrade in speed with Ball being one of those guys has been a difference maker.
Ball gets a break. Now KD Daniels into the backfield, the freshman from West Point, Mississippi.
Gatorade Player of the Year in that state as well, so Florida being able to go into a couple different states outside of Florida and bring in some top players, which I think has made Florida fans excited. You know, the competition of recruiting has become one of the things that gets the fans' juices going in the offseason.
Manny Nunnery makes a play behind the line of scrimmage.
I think one of the things you have to learn when you're trying to ascend as a program is how to finish ball games. Florida had opportunities. I think about the Missouri game, chances to get off the field and just couldn't.
DJ Lagway, that's a touchdown to Aiden Mizell. Over the middle, had time. That was the first passing play of the drive, a 22-yard strike.
How about it? The first drive, 3 passes, 3 and out for Florida's offense. That time they ran the ball down the field and came out of the timeout with an opportunity to throw the ball down the middle of the field. Nice job by Mizell. This was one of the 3 freshman receivers that Florida signed last year. Obviously, Trey Wilson. That would be huge if Florida could start to get a little bit more from him as well as Andy Jean.
Hunter Smith on for the extra point. And it's now the Orange offense in front, 7-3. 7 plays, 70 yards, a little under 3 minutes, capped off by a 22-yard touchdown pass from DJ Lagway to Aiden Mizell. Speedster, 10.65, 100-yard dash. He was able to find a seam and a strike from Lagway.
Yeah, great throw right there. 2 high safeties with man coverage underneath. Florida didn't take a ton of deep shots last year. That's something I think I'd like to see personally a little bit more from the offense. I know the receivers would like to have more chances down the field, but being accurate with the football and minimizing those interceptions, obviously key in every offense. But when you're having to string first downs together like Florida does, that accuracy is even more important. Yeah, you know, in a lot of quarterback rooms, whether we're talking about college or in the pros, there's typically, you know, a rivalry, a protection of the job. And I think a lot of times those guys don't get as well. But I think having had a quarterback like Mertz have that experience has been beneficial for sure in the perspective of bringing DJ Lagway along.
Jacoby Jackson on the carry. A gain of 32 yards for Jackson.
Nice job on the little read option there. How about Jackson putting together a little burst after he hit that second level?
Originally from Pensacola, transferred in from Coahoma County Community College. That's in the Mississippi Delta. Clarksdale. Ethan Wilson on the tackle. Again, Jacoby Jackson on the carry, and that's another big gain, 15 yards.
Picking up chunks here. Both the blue team now and the orange team last drive, making a concerted effort to run the football. A lot of running backs that are kind of vying for some playing time behind Montrell Johnson this year.
It's time to the air. Pass is complete to DK.
This is a position I think that really needs to step up. I talked about the returning production from last year. 61 catches from Trey Wilson. The rest of the returning players on the Florida roster only had 60. So going out and getting a veteran guy like DK, I think is big, not only from a production standpoint, but from a leadership standpoint of guys that are really young in that room.
Mertz and DK. This was the 2022 season. 43 catches, 6 touchdowns. DK obviously not catching balls from Mertz right now. Back to the ground, and this time quarterback keeps it. That's Clay Millen picking his way down to the 16. They'll mark him at the 18-yard line.
Having a chance to work on all aspects of the game here in front of a crowd today on the game field is important.
38-yard try from Smack, and he makes another. More coming up from the Florida spring game after this. Coach, what have you seen so far that you like?
Well, I think we've made a few plays on third down to keep the drive alive, and it's good to see some of these young players who maybe have had a little bit of experience last year show up and play with some confidence. You know, I think overall pretty clean so far, and we want to see more of that.
Yeah, one of the young guys that stepped up and made a play there was Aiden Mizell, part of that threesome that signed last year in the 2023 class. How important is it for young guys like him and maybe a few other guys to step up and give some support there to Trey Wilson in that receiver room?
Yeah, in particular in that room, you know, we need some of those young guys to continue to develop. Aiden's had a great offseason, you know, and I think he was a track guy coming out. I think he's developed nicely. Coach Gonzalez has done a good job with him. You know, he was an elite sprinter, 10.6, 48 quarter. Both parents ran track at the University of Florida. So his receiver game, his skill level has improved, and it's good to see him show up, make a play. That's going to give him some confidence going into the rest of the offseason. You know, I think we started recruiting DJ before he became the 5-star Gatorade National Player of the Year. And to see him handle the recognition that comes with that, I think it's been awesome to see. His family's impressive. A ton of respect for how the young man that they've raised. But he's a worker. You know, he's got the respect of his teammates because of the detail, the discipline, the work ethic, and he's worked extremely hard going all the way back to January. Well, we've got experience. You know, I think for the first time there, if you look at that group as a whole, a lot of players playing last year, first time they've played, right?
I think liking what he has seen so far, but he's also been with this group every day throughout the spring.
He's definitely had a chance to see how this team has evolved. I think even during a 15 practice spring, how about Florida last year had 7 true freshmen playing every single ball game. That's the most in the nation last year. Well, the good thing about playing young guys early is they come back a little bit more experienced the next year. You talked about the total number of snaps that return, but I think defensively is where they're going to benefit the most. So many young guys. You mentioned Jordan Castell earlier in their game 1 at the safety position.
Graham Mertz back in at quarterback for the blue offense. They put a couple of field goals on the board. The only touchdown has come from the orange offense on that pass from Lagway to Mizell earlier. This is Trey Wilson on the carry.
Yeah, I think that building a program is very difficult, right? You bring in guys, you don't know how long you're going to have them. You're having to re-recruit your roster every single day, dealing with the portal. They had a number of losses, but also were able to be prosperous in the portal as well. 33 new faces between the transfer portal guys and the freshmen here that are early enrollees making their debut in the Swamp today. And I think that's part of the trend across the country. Very difficult to know what to expect from year to year with all the turnover.
You don't see his name there, but one of those additions through the portal, Asa Turner, who just broke on that ball and batted it away. He started in the national championship game in January for the Washington Huskies.
Yeah, also played for Will Harris back at Washington, was recruited by Will Harris, who's now the new Florida secondary coach. So when you can get a guy that played in the national championship, that's a 6th-year player, that is a huge benefit, particularly with how many freshmen you had to play at the safety position last year.
50-yard punt by Crawshaw with no return. Jeremy Crawshaw getting the opportunity there. That was the first punt for the blue offense in the game today. Some key additions on the defensive side. You see Asa Turner's name there, along with Bridges from Oregon. Jameer Grimsley, interesting story. He's classified as a transfer because he went through a few practices with Alabama, but then transferred. He's in his first year of college football.
Yeah, it was a week there with the Crimson Tide. Nick Saban ended up deciding to retire.
Did he?
Kalen, yeah, he did. I don't know if you heard that in the offseason, but yeah, Kalen DeBoer would
big
not
storyline.
Let him out of his NIL, so actually is considered a transfer. I think between he and Devin Moore, much more potential to be physical with opposing wide receivers with that length.
Lagway back to the air. That's Marcus Burke, the wide receiver. Hayden Hansen, a guy that returns as well and played a lot a season ago. How important in what Florida is trying to do offensively is that tight end position?
It's huge. I mean, the 12 personnel is something that Florida feels very comfortable in. They want to be able to run the football. When you have guys like Boardingham that can give you a little versatility, he's not the greatest blocker. He's more of the H-back kind of position, whereas Hansen's more of the on-the-in line of scrimmage Y. But those guys, particularly the versatility that Boardingham can bring you, being able to split out in a wide receiver position creates matchup issues that the advantage goes to the offense on.
Burke on the carry there. The previous play was Ball, who's had a nice spring game. It was a 15-yard gain, 4 carries for 51 yards so far for Jaden Ball. Full transparency, our scoreboard shows 7-6. That's how we were told they were keeping score. In the stadium, they've given the Orange team an extra field goal, so 10-6 on their scoreboard. You said liberties that exist in the spring game.
Well, I think you're seeing a lot of the starters on the blue team and on the blue offense particularly, so maybe putting them at a little bit of a disadvantage here so the game stays competitive. I don't know. I hadn't heard the formal announcement on that yet.
New set of downs for the Orange team offense. DJ Lagway, the National Gatorade Player of the Year out of Willis High School in Texas. Play action, lets it fly. What a pretty ball and what a nice catch. On the reception, Taylor Speardo, the redshirt junior from Franklin, Tennessee, gain of 32.
Yeah, a walk-on wide receiver has a soft spot in my heart. He's one of the 2 guys that was awarded a scholarship, with Khalil Jackson being the other one. But Spirito always has a smile on his face. The guy works hard, and he's been able to contribute here the last couple years.
Back to Jordan Ball. Just tight driving spiral.
Yeah, a little bit of an unconventional release, drops it down a little sidearm, but the ball certainly has some revs on it when it comes out of his hand. The thing I like most about that last throw, he knew he had man coverage. He knew there was no defender over there. Instead of trying to zip it in there, put a little air underneath it and let his receiver run under it.
Third down coming here for the Orange team offense. DJ Lagway has gone the distance. We've seen Graham Mertz sub in and out on the other side. Part of that is they know exactly what they have with Graham Mertz. Over the middle, incomplete.
A little early, yeah.
Flag comes in, trying to get it to Burke. Rackley was in coverage. There's been a lot of talk in this offseason about being more organized. And I think that is maybe encompassing the entire program in terms of game day operation, getting plays in and out.
Managing the clock in late game situations against Arkansas, so they've got to clean things up. They're not good enough to overcome self-inflicted wounds.
Lagway steps out of bounds at the 6-yard line.
That running ability certainly limits what opposing defenses are going to be able to do.
Jaden Ball back into the game. He gets the handoff, breaks a tackle, trying to get to that first down marker, and he's going to be dropped short. Tackle on the play made by Quincy Ivory off the edge.
Nice pursuit by the Florida, the blue team's defense.
Another field goal try. This time it's Hunter Smith from 24 yards out, and he snapped that one left. No good, and so no points this time for the Orange offense. And that will take us to a timeout. 2 minutes left in this first half. 7-6, the Orange team in front of the blue team. We have chosen to adjust our scoreboard to match the one in the stadium. So the orange team leads the blue team 10-6, but
we're being told that somehow the orange team earned it during practice this week. I'm not sure how that happened, but again, part of the liberties that are able to be taken during spring games.
There you go. These are the spring game rules. Obviously, black jerseys, don't touch them. That's the most important rule in this game, especially when it comes to number 15 and number 2. Wide open. Catch by Trey Wilson. He's out to the 35-40-yard line. That's a gain of 20 on the first down play.
Yeah, I talked a little bit earlier about the relationship between Ricky Pearsall last year and Trey Wilson. Pearsall really took Wilson under his wing, and I think he benefited supremely from having the opportunity to work with number 1 last year.
How about a touchdown for Trey Wilson? 10-5 end zone. A 60-yard strike. Graham Mertz hit him in stride. That is 6 catches for 111 yards and a touchdown for Trey Wilson.
What you saw from Trey Wilson right there was a Ricky Pearsall-esque route at the top. Set the underneath coverage up by giving him a little corner nod. Watch him set him up to the corner, got him to jump, and created separation to let him split the middle of the field.
And one of the things that was really interesting, you hear, obviously, Florida, a place with a rich quarterback tradition, and the expectations for that position are a little high.
The toughness and desire to win, if you have the rest of the players playing with that around him, this Florida team is going to be much improved.
And who knows, in a couple of years, we could be talking about DJ Lagway in the very same way. He scrambles out of bounds to stop the clock with 1:31. So we're running clock until we get to the last couple of minutes of the second quarter and the fourth quarter.
Or until the head coach wants to see something different, and then we can adjust there on the fly as well.
As immediately the clock starts to run again. So, however you want to go with it. 1:15 left in this opening half. Blue team has taken the lead with the 60-yard touchdown pass from Mertz to Wilson. Now Lagway on the run, wide open receiver, and that ball is caught. 24 yards on the play.
Marcus Burke made some big plays early in the season against Utah in that week 1 opener, able to secure the catch right there. He's a guy that would certainly help that wide receiver core kind of evolve a little bit if he could be a little more consistent than he was last season.
Lagway. And whistles blow the play dead. He was trying to get to the outside and did so. And told us in the 5 years where they were not on staff together, Austin Armstrong told us he and Ron Roberts still talked 2 or 3 times a week. How about another completion over the middle all the way down to the 11-yard line. That's Marcus Burke again, and he's having a big day.
That is a ridiculously difficult catch. Going down, trying to catch the football by your ankles, being able to stay up and get the yards after the catch.
Second and goal from the 10, 21 seconds left in the quarter. Lagway flushed with his feet, goes out of bounds at the 5.
I talked earlier, love to see more shots down the field with the offense this year, particularly a guy like Trey Wilson. We saw it last drive, saw the big touchdown over the top. So having some of those big plays certainly will help this offense and maybe open up the run game too.
Play action, touchdown. Taylor Spierto in the back of the end zone hauls it in. That is the second touchdown pass for DJ Lagway.
Yeah, second touchdown pass of the day and second over the middle of the field again. Looks like he's really comfortable operating in that part of the field against Florida's defense, the blue team's defense today. Good job by Spierto going up and catching the ball with his hands there as well.
Spierto was a walk-on back in 2021. 2 catches in 13 career games. For a team that's looking to add depth at wide receiver, perhaps can see his role continue to grow in this Florida offense.
That's what I love about the spring game. It's an opportunity to show that you're ready to contribute next fall. Spierto getting an opportunity here today to make some big plays. His second catch, that one a big one for a touchdown.
Billy Napier said their focus in the transfer portal has been older guys with experience. He said we spent 2 years remaking the roster and are now really focused on guys that fit. And that means a lot of things. What a day so far for Trey Wilson and the Blue offense. 6 catches for 111 yards. 7 seconds until the halftime break. And they put it on the ground. I thought after the long break that meant we had something coming.
I was going to say, any chance we get some spring boo birds out here, maybe prematurely getting upset by the play calling?
Jacoby Jackson on the carry, and that takes us to the halftime break. 17-13, the Orange team led by DJ Lagway at quarterback. In front, they did get a bonus field goal from some curious scoring. A fun first half here in Gainesville. Miami for the season opener, UCF on October 5th, closing out the year against Florida State. And, oh, by the way, the Texas Longhorns in a road game.
Well, to his point, right? You trade out going to Utah in the opener against the home game here in the Swamp against Miami. You don't have to go up against LSU in Baton Rouge. Oh, by the way, that had the Heisman-winning quarterbacks and 2 receivers that are going to be drafted in the top 10 picks. You play against Florida State, who doesn't have Jordan Travis anymore. You get Kentucky at home instead of having to go to Lexington. So I think there are some things that may be favorable as you look a little bit deeper. They earned it in practice this week, so that's why you see the score reflect the 17-13 total up on the board.
Returnable kick. Tank Hawkins on the return. Graham Mertz in at quarterback. It's Jacoby Jackson with him in the backfield, and Jackson play action instead of throw. And that ball is complete to Khalil Jackson. 1st and 15, though, after a flag. That wipes the gain off the board. Mertz incomplete, trying to get that one to Trey Wilson.
Florida looking to upgrade between Asa Turner from Washington. You get Douglas from Tulane and Bridges from Oregon. It's a lot of snaps that those guys have experienced in college football that they bring to this Florida defense.
Triquez Bridges played in every game. This one complete. That's Khalil Jackson down the sideline. Finally shoved out of bounds by Devin Moore.
Nice to see Jackson making another catch on the over route there. It's a guy that's from right here in Gainesville. I played with his father in high school. I played with his father and uncle at Florida. And a nice pass there, dropping it into Jackson, who a legacy, 3rd generation Florida football player.
On the ground, this one blown up in the backfield. That was Tyreek Sapp. Sapp stepping in and making a play.
Earlier had a chance to grow up with both Willie Jackson Jr. and Terry Jackson, Khalil's uncle. So a great history of football playing here for the Gators for the Jackson family.
Toward the end zone, incomplete. Trying to get it to DK. And he goes into the hedges. So a 3rd down play coming up here. Mertz with Webb in the backfield. He swings it to Webb out of the backfield, caught and knocked out of bounds just shy of the 20-yard line by Teddy Foster. This one from 39 yards just inside the left hash. Smack's kick splits the uprights and puts 3 more on the board for the blue team. Makes it a 1-point game with 10:56 left in the 3rd.
I think he's doing that for the room now, right? He's got great practice habits. I thought it was the best player we signed in that class, and I think he's proven that so far.
Coach, you're one of the few coaches that still has a traditional spring game. Why is it important for you guys to put these guys in this position to replicate a game as much as you guys do?
So I just think there's benefit from a process standpoint. I think it gets them ready for what we all know is a challenge in the fall.
Coach, last thing for you. You mentioned transfers, a bunch of new faces on this team. How important is it to have them here for this spring period so that, as you said a second ago, they can kind of hit the ground running?
Yeah, I think in particular for us, with where we're at as a program, we are still building a roster that can be a contender, right? So I think we had some glaring issues from a depth perspective on our team last year. And we've been able to add not only talent and traits, but I think this year in the portal, we took approach, what is the extra dimension that these players add to the team? The leadership, the character component, can they get along? Every player that we brought in, we got them around our team, and we got feedback from our players. Hey, does this guy fit? Will he help grow the culture that we want here? And I think it's one of the areas where we did a really good job in this cycle.
No, you want to get back to coaching. Billy, thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Billy Napier, head coach in his 3rd season here with the Florida Gators.
Beautiful weather to be outside, and I would have expected anything less than a crowd this size.
It's thinned out a little bit in the second half. DJ Lagway on the run. That pass is complete. He's got TJ Abrams on the catch. Good enough for a first down.
We talked about being able to have more chunk plays in the passing game. I thought both Mertz and Lagway so far have had some success.
A little razzle-dazzle, but Lagway touchdown in the backfield.
The addition of Gerald Chapman, the new defensive line coach, I think has been beneficial to Florida's defense this spring.
And 2 of his defensive linemen were involved in kind of blowing that last play up. Mekhi Barrow from Atlanta, who is a freshman, and Joey Slackman, who is anything but a freshman. He's a grad, transferred in from the Ivy League.
Coaches all talked about how people have gravitated to Slackman in the locker room, so a nice addition for Florida's defense.
Lagway looking for another one of those big completions. He gets this one to Green for a gain of 11, so that takes it from 2nd and 27 to 3rd and 16. Brian Green on the catch. 3rd and 16 here for Lagway, and the Orange offense steps up in the pocket, and he throws an interception. That one's picked off by Manny Nunnery. We mentioned his name earlier, the Houston transfer. Nunnery making a big play there for the Blue defense.
First big mistake by DJ Lagway today. You talked about the down and distance, wanting to make a play on 3rd down. Sometimes it's better to punt the football than try to force it. That time did not see the underneath coverage there from Nunnery.
Nunnery had a career-high 10 tackles last year against Arkansas. Had an interception in the spring game to the resume.
What comes to mind when you think about some of the early Orange and Blue games that you played in?
Well, I mean, today what reminds me of is the show of fan support. I mean, this is really impressive to me to see this many folks here cheering the game. Something else that this reminds me of is we've seen some long passes that were completed, which is great to see as a Florida Gator, getting the ball down the field a little more like we used to. You never knew what would happen in the spring game, but we just loved it.
Danny, you spent a lot of time with both Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway. What is your impression of those 2 quarterbacks and the relationship that they have as well?
Yeah, I tell you what, I think we have the best quarterback room perhaps in the country. I am a huge fan of Graham Mertz. I think he is a great leader. I think he's a great quarterback, and being in his 2nd season in this system is just going to do wonders for him. And then you add to that, DJ Lagway, player of the year, all this incredible talent.
Visiting on the sideline with Danny Werfel, you saw Jamari Lyons blow that last play up for the Orange defensive line. Danny, you mentioned 2nd year in the system for Graham Mertz. How big a difference is there year 1 to year 2?
Well, I think in any system that's a big deal.
What is your take on how this roster has been constructed and the overall culture of the program right now?
Well, I think one of Coach Napier's strengths is being a culture builder. I really like the things that he's very intentional about. Everything is very intentional. Oh my, that was quite a play. Crawled all over his back and made the catch. Hate to see a quarterback get an interception, but that was pretty impressive. But I think, Napier's this incredible culture builder. I think it's really hard now in these days where every year you're kind of recruiting your own team to not leave. But I think he's doing a great job of putting that together. And I like our crew. I like the energy that they've had when I've been around. I like the leadership that we have. We can upgrade that, get a few more turnovers like we just saw. That could lead to a lot of great success this year. Good point, Chris.
Danny, got to ask you about wide receivers as well. Obviously, Ricky Pearsall was such a huge part of the offense, but we saw Trey Wilson kind of emerge a season ago as a true freshman. He's had a big day today in the Orange and Blue game. Just a thought that you have on Trey Wilson and kind of watching his play.
Man, he's an electric player. He's really hard to cover. Once he gets the ball, he's hard to get down, so he can do so many things. He's the type of player the defenses have to know where he is. and they have to account for him, which messes things up a lot with the numbers. I think what we're trying to find out this year on the Gator team is do we have another guy that can move into that spot? I think we got a lot of really good players at the position, but is there anybody else that's going to emerge that's going to make defenses, a little concerned?
What has that meant for you in getting to be involved with college football players all across the country?
Well, it's really special on our end because our award, the Warfel Trophy, is not for like touchdowns or tackles or yards. It's for community service. So we're getting to nominate and to honor young men that are doing great things in their communities and to get to meet them and to hear their stories. And I mean, last night, my wife in Atlanta had dinner, my daughter with the young man, who's not young anymore. He won the Warfel Trophy 18 years ago, Joel Penton from Ohio State. And he's doing some work all over the country now, LifeWise Academy. That's incredible. And they were in Atlanta, so just the friendships is really special.
You're celebrating Ohio State guys. I think Ladd McConkey won it.
The University of Florida Club Pickleball team hosted a big tournament this morning. They had teams of alumni come back, play against the teams of the students. A lot of people playing. And I'm still a little salty, Chris. We got bronze. So we at least took a medal, but it's not the big one.
That's not like you, Danny.
Yeah, Sorry, Chris.
I know Florida-Georgia's the big rivalry, but pickleball versus tennis seems to be a budding rivalry as well.
This dude is all about it, I'll tell you what.
Both sports are great. I think it takes a while for tennis players to make the transition because they're a little hesitant. But in my opinion, it's a much better sport. It's more exciting. More people can play and enjoy it. And there's a little more dopamine rushes when people are trying to hit you with the ball. It's like a little sword fight or something.
That one's incomplete over on the far sideline. DJ Lagway leading the Orange offense. Quick throw out to the far sideline. And that's Fierto with another catch. He's had a big day, has a touchdown reception.
Replicating a game, you get to see guys that can step up. And there's a lot of guys that are going to be counted on this Florida team that you want to know that can trust. You can trust them when you get into the ball game. So I love the fact that they still continue to make this more of a competitive event than a lot of other schools in the SEC are. And I just think back to my growth during some of the springs that certainly, I think, caught the eye of the coaches and allowed me to feel confident that I was ready to play as I got older.
We touched on it earlier. This defensive line is a group that needed to improve. We'll get into it some in the fourth quarter. The addition of Gerald Chapman, what he has meant for this defensive line, and some pressure that they have put on in this game, especially here in the third quarter. The legend of Tom Petty lives on in the swamp, even at the spring game as we go to the fourth quarter. How about a 52-yard field goal try for Hunter Smith as we open this fourth quarter? Get enough, hooked it to the left. Don't want to do that on number 2 at Augusta. You'll end up where Tiger Woods did on Thursday afternoon, down by the creek amongst the trees and having to hit a left-handed shot.
Not ideal. Florida has not been where Florida fans typically expected them to be in a while, and so just getting back to bowl eligibility is important. Danny mentioned the difficult schedule that Florida plays next year, but I think the roster seems to have been upgraded from a talent perspective.
We expect this to be the last drive today for Graham Mertz as well. Johnson on the carry across the 40 down to the 37-yard line, close to a first down. Up third and short.
I bet you Florida right here, after they convert, or the blue team with the offense converting, I bet you Graham Mertz lobbies for a shot. After throwing that interception in the last possession, wanting to finish off, knowing that he doesn't have a whole lot of snaps back in this ball game, I bet they take a shot after moving the chains.
A little bit different style offensively for this Florida team. You don't see a ton of teams that huddle the way they do.
I think being able to change speeds is important now, when you can keep defenses off with the change in rhythm.
Fake the handoff on the end around, give it to Johnson, but that one is blown up by L.J. McCray. Sharif Denson was there as well. McCray, the freshman from mainland Florida.
L.J. McCray just looks different. I was at practice on Thursday. This dude is a beast. Think about him playing high school football last year. That certainly was not a fair fight for a lot of the guys at that level, but he's going to be counted on a lot this year. I don't think you could have two better representations of this recruiting class that Florida just signed in 2024 than the five-star quarterback TJ Lagway, and the 5-star defender there in LJ McCray.
We had multiple coaches refer to him as a freak. You got to be careful about throwing that term around here because the original freak, Javon Curse, was a Gator, but physically he is special.
Yeah, sets the bar pretty high when you talk about the freak, and that teammate of mine definitely comes to mind. Javon Curse, a special player, not only here but in the NFL for a long time.
59-yard punt into the end zone, so a touchback.
I'm juiced up. I mean, I think you look out here, you see guys competing, guys flying around. Like you said, you're just talking about the defense, but I mean, they're doing a great job of playing sound football, making us be honest, run the ball in the middle, and they're filling the gaps, so they're playing really good across the board.
Graham, I thought we were going to see you take another shot there after the interception, the previous possession.
Hey, there's some more shots coming. The game, we still got 11:55.
Are you going to go back in?
I'm not getting out of this thing, man.
No, we were told you were done.
No, I'm having fun. I'm having fun.
All right, do me a favor. Give me some sort of sign when you're about to take a shot, because I want to be zoned in on that, all right?
All right, I'll think of something.
All right, what do you think overall about your play so far today? The connection between you and Trey Wilson seems second nature.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously want to do more. I mean, I think that we've just been a little inconsistent on offense. Not our best day so far, but I mean, all we can do is finish. I mean, it's 16-17. I know the guys on that sideline want to win. They're competitive. They want some J's, so we're gonna let it rip.
Is that what's on the line?
Oh yeah, man. There's a nice dinner. You either get a nice dinner, or you get a little hot dog and bean combo, which you just don't want. Then you get a pair of J's. So It's competitive, man. And the guys just love ball.
Graham, we thought we were hanging out with you for the fourth quarter. We didn't know you were going to keep playing. We appreciate you stopping by. Good catching up. Thanks so much for the time yesterday, and all the best.
I appreciate you guys.
Thanks,
we're having fun out here today. Go Gators.
Go Gators. The dude's excited just to be around his teammates. You know, I think that the thing that was most impressive to me yesterday was his desire to help everybody around him learn. And with a team that's as young as Florida is, with as much youth at the receiver position specifically, I think the more snaps that he can get with those guys, the better.
Second down coming up here for the Orange offense with Clay Millen in the game. Certainly good to get a transfer in addition to that quarterback room from a guy that's got some experience.
You can never have enough experience at the quarterback spot.
Did he have the orange and blue glasses on when he was
I started trying to think, like, who else would be in that mix? We could start in the conference here. I mean,
with some of the guys coming back, you pointed to the fact that a year ago there were a lot of question marks in a lot of places with not a ton of experience coming back. And then this year you look up, part of it with the addition of Oklahoma and Texas. Certainly you add Quinn Ewers into that mix, but a lot of experience at the quarterback position. And then some young stars as well, some guys in the making, stars in the making, like number 2 there. Mill Road, Alabama, Peyton Thorne, expected to be the second-year starter at Auburn. Obviously Graham Mertz here in Gainesville, Carson Beck. Felt like he could have gone in the draft, chose to come back for another year. Brady Cook had a big season at Missouri, and Jackson Dart, third-year starter this season for Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss.
Connor Wegman, a guy that season was cut short last year with an injury at Auburn. I think that'll be an interesting dynamic there in College Station.
Clay Millen's dad, Hugh, was a quarterback at the University of Washington and spent 7 years in the NFL. On the ground, and a big run for the Orange offense down inside the 20-yard line. That's Anthony Rubio on the carry. Rubio a walk-on, getting some action here, 16 yards and a first down for the Orange offense.
It's fun to see the benches get a chance to empty late in these spring games.
This time a tackle behind the line, so a loss on first down.
I think he's brought a level of intensity and accountability to that position. A mild-mannered guy, you know, anybody I talk to says, man, you would not expect him, knowing him, to be the kind of coach that he is, loud, boisterous, calling guys out. I think that's what these guys need, is to be held a little bit more accountable. And I think that's kind of the overall theme, RC. Like, when you look at how difficult it is to manage rosters, to manage kids that, they get their feelings hurt, they're going to jump in the transfer portal. Coach Napier mentioned us yesterday. We're going to get these guys in here. We're getting guys that want to be here, and then we're going to coach them hard, which I don't know that a lot of coaches are willing to go out and do. And you've already seen some attrition the last couple years through the transfer portal. But you know, I like the approach to bringing accountability as a whole from this staff to these players.
See some of the guys returning. Cam Jackson, who was banged up early in the ball game, but it's been able to come back and play well. Spencer Umaniela, one of the transfers out from Florida. Had certainly a productive season a year ago.
I think the experience that Florida has from last year's team, along with the guys they brought in through the portal, is going to give them an opportunity to present much more for opposing offenses to have to prepare for.
The dreaded doink, 38-yard field goal try from Hunter Smith. Hits the left upright, so it remains a 1-point game, giving perhaps the Blue offense a chance to kick a field goal.
4 minutes, 42 seconds left. So much for the clock running, too, until we get to the late game situation.
Well, change of possession, they've stopped it. We got that. Flag comes in. Mertz throws it away. That was about 8 rows up. That's a great catch in the stands on the opposite sideline from where we are.
Did a nice job of securing the ball. But I'll say this. You mentioned the flag being thrown. Stay healthy during spring games, and let's just have a clean, penalty-free afternoon. I thought for the most part there is that catch.
Mertz pressured, stepped up. He's able to dump it off for a completion out of the backfield. Jacoby Jackson making the catch and getting it back out to the original line of scrimmage. So they did go with another penalty and moved it back to the 2-yard line.
Trying to make it difficult on Graham.
I guess they called it a sack after all. Not a lot of plays in the playbook for 2nd and 28.
Even fewer for 3rd and 25.
3 minutes left in the orange and blue game.
You know what we would have done, Coach Spurrier, 5 wide. 5 wide from the 5-yard line, throw the ball down the field.
Quick throw instead. And Trey Wilson with another catch in the ballgame. He's had a big day today.
Going to have a big year. I mean, he's the focal point of the offense. They do a great job of getting him the ball in a lot of creative ways, but definitely going to need somebody to step up around him. It's been nice to see Khalil Jackson do a great job today. Spirito has contributed as well. But I do think that some of those young guys, like Mizell, who had a touchdown earlier, Andy Jean, haven't seen much from him today. Tank Hawkins brings that fast speed. These guys as a whole need to step up their production as a group more than they did last year. It was all about Ricky Pearsall with a little compliment from Trey Wilson, but they need more of an effort from the entirety of the room.
Driving spiral that will be fielded with no return at the 38 by Aaron Gates. We were told coming in that Andy Jean is one that would not play today. He's been a little bit banged up. 53-yard punt that time with no return.
Playing in the SEC, when I was in the league, it was tough. The physical, cumulative effects, the mental grind. Now it becomes even more difficult with Texas and Oklahoma joining in.
DJ Lagway has to throw that one away.
Given the opposing offensive line's difficulty with penetration, kind of disrupting some of the run game.
Lagway with the pump fake, and then he takes off, and they blow it dead. Billy Napier signals for a timeout. 3rd down and 14. DJ Lagway steps away from the pressure, lets it fly, and that ball is caught on the sideline, but short of the 1st down. Mizell, who has a touchdown catch today.
Some more pressure off the backside there. Looked like Gums again lobbying for the play to be blown dead. And looks like he won that argument.
Oh, they're going to go back and mark him down, so he got a hand on him.
Has a lot of pop when it comes out of his hand there, and the accuracy's been pretty good today as well.
Hunter Smith punts it away, fair catch called for. And so the Blue offense will have one last chance after a 48-yard punt with no return, 1:24 remaining, and we'll see those competitive juices one more time from Graham Mertz.
Does it make me a bad guy that I'm cheering for the Blue offense here to put a drive together? That's probably not what makes me a bad guy, but
I mean, as I say, the list is long and distinguished, but No, it doesn't make you a bad guy because what you're looking for an exciting finish.
Got to see some excitement here down the stretch, and waiting for Graham to signal that he's taking a shot for me. He promised me.
You think that's what's in his head right now?
No, I don't think so. I hope not.
Mertz with time. Trying to get that one to Trey Wilson. Had to drop it in a bucket. Pretty good coverage there by the
great
Orange
coverage.
team secondary.
You saw the blue team get to the bunch formation, tried to play little levels there. Mertz probably should have taken the underneath throw as the outside flat defender dropped back underneath that throw to Wilson. Trying to make a play downfield, though.
I got a polarizing question for you after this play. 2nd and 10. Mertz incomplete.
I do like when we went on the road, though. I do like the orange pants with the white jerseys.
This one may have been batted at the line. It was intended for Boardingham. So the blue team will punt it away one more time.
Do you think there'll be any lobbying by the blue team, given the fact that the orange was staked with 3 points from something that happened in the practice week?
I'm sure there will be. But I don't think that means that they're not eating hot dogs tonight.
I'll say this, though. The blue team does have all 3 timeouts, though, RC. So maybe the chance for Graham Mertz to get the ball back to get those Jays. I see you're thinking hard. Look at you.
DJ Lagway, 163 yards, couple of touchdowns today. So what, if you say 4 seconds of play plus a timeout, you just assume that's about 15 seconds off the clock. So that gets you down to 43. Or they just go to the air.
They're getting their money's worth today on offense.
No doubt. Which means Blue didn't have to burn a timeout.
Blue team bringing the blitz. Nice job by DJ Lagway there, recognizing the blitz, getting it out to his hot route outlet there as the back to the flat.
It'd be very Steve Spurrier-like of Billy Napier if they keep throwing it up a point with 47 seconds left. But here we go. Lagway touchdown on the play and a timeout taken by Billy Napier. 40 seconds remaining. 2nd and 13 coming. It's KD Daniels that motioned into the backfield. Lagway buying time with his feet and runs out of bounds to stop the clock. Lagway incomplete.
I'll say this, that the disdain has not dwindled at all between those two fan bases, so it's going to be an exciting one here on August 31st.
Shanked punt, so going to have pretty good field position, and maybe Chris Doring will get his wish with a big finish for the offense. Graham Mertz trying to rally the guys.
String pulling to make this kind of an exciting finish for the blue team.
26-yard punt. .22 seconds to play. Career-long field goal, by the way, for Trey Smack is 54 yards. Came against Charlotte a year ago.
You can kick it.
He has made 3 field goals in the game. We just got the announcement from our referee, Kyle Olson, that both teams will have 2 timeouts remaining. So what, need to get to about the 37-yard line? That pass is caught. What a catch. That was Trayon Webb. Sharif Denson with the big hit, but Webb was able to hang on, ball a little bit behind him, bobbled it around and hauled it in.
Yeah, it's a running back making that catch too. Ball behind, as you mentioned. They've had success throwing to the middle of the field today so far. Both offenses have.
Mertz with time over the middle of the field. That ball's caught. That is in field goal range. DK on the catch. The transfer from Wisconsin. DJ Lagway making his debut in the Swamp. 173 yards, couple of touchdowns. Both QBs have thrown one interception today.
That's what that leadership and experience brings to you.
No timeouts remaining for the blue team. They throw it over the middle of the field. It will stop with the first down. On the catch that time was the tight end Arliss Boardingham. They've got to spike the ball. Mertz does that out of the shotgun with 1 second left on the clock.
See, I don't know if you can get that off in a real game.
The orange team is protesting. The orange team's mad. You just heard the announcement from our referee, Kyle Olson, to please reset the game clock to 2 seconds. Austin Armstrong can't believe it. This is a 37-yard try. He did not miss in this range last season and has not missed in this range today. So again, we think the final play of the Florida spring game. Good snap, good hold, kick is on the way, and it is good. And it is a walk-off win for the blue team. Trey Smack splits the uprights. And they get the 3 points at the end that were gifted to the orange team from their work at practice earlier this week. Fun afternoon here in Gainesville.